Target acquisition. Obviously, this is an integral part, really important to being a soldier. This is what we're going to run through on this PowerPoint, all aspects of. In order to locate an enemy's position and engage him effectively with fire without wasting ammunition, the soldier has to judge distance accurately. You are now likely to have access to equipment to help you do this. But if there is no equipment, there are other methods. Equipment that you could have is a laser rangefinder or binoculars. But we're going to go through the stuff you can do without equipment. The unit of measure method. Provided that all the ground between the soldier and the object is visible, use can be made of the unit of measure familiar to the soldier. This may be the length of a football pitch because everybody understands the length and has a picture in the mind. It's 100 meters for a football pitch length, but must be a unit with which the soldier is familiar. If no particular unit is familiar for the soldier, he should be trained to recognise the unit of 100 meters. So if you don't recognise the football pitch, if you're not familiar with the length of a football pitch, we'd have to go to Pearson's to estimate that. Estimate how many units of the familiar length can be fitted in between the position of the object to which the distance is required. So if there is a tree, say, in the distance, or a hedge, between that distance you'll be looking at, can I fit 2, can I fit 3, could I fit 4 football pitches in there, and obviously that would be your estimation. A simple multiplication should be given, and that's how you'd measure it. Obviously this is guesstimation, but it's the best guess, as accurate as you can possibly be. Appearance method of judging distance is based on what an object looks like compared to its surroundings. The soldier must know what various objects, for example, trees, gates, houses, soldiers, etc., look like at various ranges. There is a gauge for this and a graph that we're going to go through now. So, at 100 meters, all detail is clear. At 200 meters, clear in all detail, colour of skin and equipment identifiable. At 300 meters, clear body outline, face colour good, remain in detail, a bit blurred now. At 400 meters, body outline clear, remain in detail, gets quite blurred at 400 meters. 500 meters, body begins to taper, head becomes indistinct, so it's more of a shape rather than detail. 600 meters, body now wedge shaped, no head apparent, so it's a kind of a blob in the front of you. It is useful to know the amount of foresight or pointer that will cover a soldier for ranges of up to 600 meters. Optical sight magnification gives the target more definition, therefore it is important for the firer to know what a soldier will be looking through on the ranges 1 to 600 meters. Indication of targets. All section members should be able to indicate a target to the remaining section members. An inability to do so could cause delay and possibly confusion in getting accurate fire onto an enemy position, therefore increasing the risk of casualties and mission failure, which is obviously not what we want. Arc of fire. It is easier to recognise a target if the area of ground in which it is likely to be is known, such as an area called an arc of fire. It is indicated in the following sequence. The axis, this is the centre of the arc. The left and right of the arc, these indicate the extent of the arc. Reference points, these are prominent features or objects. These features or objects should be as permanent as possible. For example, woods, mounds, reasonable distances apart so it's easy to identify a specific point or object. Features should be chosen. It should be given a name, a simple name to avoid confusion, something that's obvious to everybody as soon as it's said. For example, hut, bottom left, 300 meters. If you can identify that there, looking on there, you can see reference points, left arc, right arc. If you went full left arc, 350 meters tree, or full right arc, 300 meters group of trees. Hope that makes sense. Direct method. This method is used to indicate obvious targets. The range, where to look, and a description of the target are given. Terms used for where to look are: axis for targets on a very near axis, left or right for targets 1600 mils from axis, slightly quarter, half or 3/4, and left or right for targets between the axis left and right. This will become apparent as we go through it. Here we go. So as you can see, the observer, you've got 3/4 right, half right, quarter right, slightly right, axis of arc, and obviously on the other side. Sounds quite complicated at the beginning. If you study this though and look at the graph, you could do this outside using a range card, down your garden, anywhere you want. Axis of arc obviously being straight down the middle or at 12 o'clock, and then the others work left and right of it. Reference points. To indicate less obvious targets, reference points issued as part of the arc of fire can be used in conjunction with the direct method. If necessary, the words above and below can be incorporated. For example, 200 wall, reference point, slightly right, small bush, enemy with RPG, the target. Clock ray. To indicate more difficult targets, a reference point together with a clock ray is used. During indication, imagine a clock face standing up on the landscape and its centre on the reference point. To indicate a target, the range, the reference point, and whether the target is to the left or right, and the appropriate hour on the clock face are given as follows: 300 tower right, 4 o'clock small bush enemy. Illustrated here. You can see the clock face in front as we go, so 4 o'clock, you can see the arrow indicating 4 o'clock, enemy in the bush, and the range was given. Obviously take your time with these slides and familiarise yourself with them. Fire control orders. Sequence of a fire control order. All soldiers must understand the sequence in which a fire control order is given so that they are able to anticipate what is coming next and prepare for it. Understanding the sequence and understanding what is expected during the fire control order will ensure soldiers are able to fire to the target quickly and effectively. The sequence of the fire control order is as follows. Group. This indicates who the fire control order is directed at. For instance, Charlie Fire Team, Rifle 3, UGL Gunner, etc. Range. This is the distance in meters to the target. Indication. This tells you where and what the target is using any of the methods of target indication. Type of fire. This tells us those involved in the fire control order, the type of fire that is to be directed onto the target, for instance, rapid, deliberate or automatic fire. Types of fire control order. Full, used when there is plenty of time and the troops are able to align onto the target. Delta Fire Team 400 meters, burnt out vehicle, 2 fingers right of vehicle, enemy fire. Brief, given when there is little time and when the target is very obvious. Section 3/4 left, rapid fire. Individual, this can be used when it's impractical for the person issuing the fire control order to control the exact time to open fire. So he passes this responsibility to the individual involved. Sharpshooter, 500 meters, half right, bund line. Enemy seen in that area, watch and shoot. Delayed, this is used when the movements of friendly forces or the enemy are known or can be estimated. The order fire is delayed until the right moment comes to open fire. Charlie Fire Team, slightly left, group.